Hey guys, this is a swung fly, one of our first YouTube videos here, just doing a nice and easy fly tying tutorial. I'm showing the materials here as we get started. This was not my initial plan to do a voiceover. Unfortunately, I did not realize with YouTube, videos can only be 15 minutes long when you first get started. So feel free to pause, go through the materials, and, pick out what works for you. Again, you can mix and match these colors, pair them however you like, and just even find other things that work best. So right now we are getting the shank with a bead on it, put onto the vise here, get it nice and tight. And you don't want it to move at all as you're tying the fly for obvious reasons. Just becomes a hassle, especially if you have to keep retying things. So just building up a good thread base, stimping that nice and close to the vise there. Next step we're going to do here is put it on a little bit of glue just to hold that glass bead in there. And I mean, the thread's really what's going to hold it up there, but it's nice to have that little bit of additional insurance. So I'm building up a nice little thread base behind that bead. Okay. Now, I'm using a glass bead here. It's a little bit lighter, especially for some low water Trout Spey techniques or places people go. It's just a very good option. It keeps it down just enough without dragging the bottom. So next up, we got our small wire here, getting it threaded on a barbless swing hook. One thing I do, which is what I'm trying to show here, is I take a lighter and I brush over the wire because it's actually got a plastic coating on it. And what that coating allows for is for it to stay nice and flush and nice and straight, especially for a swinging fly. I like to keep it nice and straight, especially with this being a rabbit strip style fly. So you can see how straight and narrow that hook is, right where you want to be for this. Now I'm taking the wire, trimming it down so that when I fold it over, it's still on the shank, and then just wrap it tight, and that wire's not going to slip whatsoever. Here you could use a magnet or a clip or whatever. I just try to keep that hook point out of the way from going in my finger as best I can here with this material clip. Now talking about a little extra insurance, you could always glue the wire like you just saw I did there. That'll definitely make sure that wire does not come unbuttoned. So now, not too good with the measurement side of things. I'd say it's about a 2-inch strip of rabbit fur. Yeah, I mean, you could mix and match. You can make, yours shorter. You can make it longer. Whatever fits your style of fishing. Do what you want with this pattern and just catch some fish on it. That's most important. Definitely make sure it's a little bit longer than the bend of the hook there, to give it a little bit of articulation in the water. But you can see as I'm playing with it, how well that rabbit strip is going to move on the swing in some good current. So now we're just getting ready for our dubbing loop. Just put that thread to the side there. You don't want to get it wrapped up in your bobbin. It just becomes a little bit of a pain if that does happen. One thing you'll see here I'll introduce is that wax. Don't feel you need to use that. You can use saliva. You don't need to use it at all. I just personally like to use it to keep things tight on the thread. Right now I'm taking another 1.5 2-inch strip of rabbit fur, putting it on my material pliers, and then cutting the leather off that rabbit strip. And then for this, we are going to keep it, I would say around the 70-30, 80-20 inside this dubbing loop. As you can see, the wax got a little bit of the wrap further there. But as you could see, yeah, I'd say about 70-30 is more so what I was going for on this. Not the neatest setup here, but you want to try to keep it as flush as possible before you do spin your dubbing loop. But you know, we're tying flies to catch fish, so not that I don't want them to look good, but it doesn't need to be perfect. So just brush that out after you spin it a few times. Get it nice and buggy looking there. Pull all those fibers back and begin to wrap that around your shank. I like to keep it close wraps. You could spread them out a little bit if you want to use less material, but I always try to overbuild my flies, which may not always be the best idea, but just the way I tie. So get that locked down, cut off the excess on the dubbing loop there, and cinch it down. So now we're going to make another dubbing loop. This go around, we want to put some flash in the fly to give it that fishy, buggy kind of look to it. So we're going to use some white ice dub and put that in the dubbing loop there. And as you can see, try to keep that thread away from your bobbin spinning. Thread's waiting to get caught up. So put that ice dub in there. Want to keep it a little bit sparse, just because, we're not trying to make it over flashy. Just flashy enough to catch some predatory fish's attention. And now we are taking the material pliers again, another 1.5 to 2 inch strip of rabbit fur, and cutting off the leather again, and just same thing, 80, 20, 70, 30, whatever floats your boat there, and just spin that up nice after you get it flush. It's fine that the ice dub's longer on the one end. We want to keep it a little bit long. Unfortunate turn of events here. Unfortunately broke the thread there as I was spinning it up. Just take your hackle pliers, pinch it down, brush it out, try to neaten it up. We got more than enough material here for the fly. And then just start wrapping that around the shank, pulling the fibers back and keeping it tight. I would have liked to have tied this a little bit closer to the bead, or wrapped this closer to the bead with a little more material, but this is more than good. And you kind of see the shape of this fly and where we're at. Micro sculpin kind of look to it. You can see it really flares out, especially when you're swinging your fly and in some strong current. That rabbit fur is going to tighten down, and if you're giving it some action on the swing, it's going to flare out and catch some fish's attention for sure. Now you got that flash on there too. So coming towards the end here, taking some black iridescent schlapin. We're going to hackle that around the nose of the fly here, right behind the bead. So whatever fibers you're kind of going to stop at, you're going to pull all the excess off there and try to clean that up before you start wrapping it on the shank. Now pull those other fibers up, and the shorter side you're going to push to the nose of the hook, or the nose of the shank, and just tie it down. Keep it tight, not too tight. You don't want to break the actual feather itself. And then run your scissors there on the side to really spread out the fibers on the schlapin, so that it gives you that nice buggy look as you're hackling it around the shank. So just lock her down at the end there, and then trim off that tag and really get it cinched down nice and good. You see that buggy look, and that's really what we're going for, as well as it keeps it a little more of the looks a little more of a traditional Spey fly there, with that hackle collar around the end of it. Now I'm tying some eyes on here. You don't have to. I was just going more for that micro sculpin presentation, so feel free to use whatever eyes you prefer, but you don't have to. I'm trying to keep this more of a traditional look, and I just do enjoy tying eyes on a lot of any kind of bait fish style presentation. So going a little bit overboard here and even locking down the tags for these. Again, feel free to not do that, because I doubt you would have any issues if you didn't. So I do hope you enjoyed this fly. We're coming to the end here, wrapping, and gonna go ahead and lock everything down. You know, three wraps with this. You know, feel free to do as many as you want, and then just glue it down. That's what's really going to hold it into place. So I'm going to show a couple other patterns here. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Hopefully I could go a little slower, but feel free to pause, go back, you know, try to get as much as you can from these, and let me know in the comments if you enjoy tying these patterns, and any fish that you caught on them.